In this video, we're going to take a look at lists and tables. Now, in HTML, there's a few different kinds of lists. So the first one we're going to look at is an unordered list. So let's put an H1 in here. And just put a heading just so we know what we're looking at. And then for an unordered list, we're going to use a UL. And inside the UL, we'll have LI tags. So this will say item 1. Let's indent that and then copy this. Okay, so if we go ahead and save that and reload, you can see we have an unordered list. Now by default, these are going to have bullet points, and you can use CSS to get rid of these. We'll get into that a little later, but that's pretty much what we need to do for an unordered list. Just use a UL tag and then LI tags inside. Now for an ordered list, I'm going to go ahead and copy this. For an ordered list, it's the same thing, except instead of UL, we're going to use OL. Okay, so if we go ahead and save that and reload, you can see the ordered list actually has an order. It has numbers. Alright, we don't have to actually include the numbers, it does that on its own. Alright, and then the next type of list is a description list. So let's go ahead and copy that. And description list. And this is going to use a DL tag here. And instead of LIs, we're actually going to just get rid of these. We're going to have a DT. Oops, I don't want that. We're going to have a DT tag, and let's say coffee, and then under the DT we'll have a DD tag, and we'll say black hot drink. Okay, so we're describing it. And let's copy this. And for this we'll say milk, and this will be a white cold drink. Alright, let's save that, and if we reload, you can see our description list. We have an object or a word here, coffee, description, black hot drink, milk is a white cold drink. So that's an example of a description list. So now let's move on to tables. Alright, so let's go down here, put in H1, we'll say tables. Okay, and then we're going to add in a table tag. And in here, in our table, we're going to have a head and a body. Alright, which is represented with the T head tag and the T body tag. So let's go ahead and add those. Okay, now in the head, we're going to put in a table row, a TR. And then these are going to be headings because this is the head area. So for a heading, we want to use TH. So let's say name, email, and phone. Okay, so we have our headings. And then in the body, we're also going to have a TR. Except in here, we're not going to have headings. We're going to have columns, which are represented with a TD tag. Okay, so we'll say John Doe. Email, we'll say jdoe@gmail. And phone number. Okay, so that's one, and then we want to add a couple more people here, or a couple more rows. So I'm going to copy that TR, and let's paste that in twice, and then we'll just change the name here. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that and reload. And there we go. There's a table. It doesn't look too good because it's not formatted with any kind of CSS or anything. It's just a standard HTML table. Now there are some things we can do without having to use CSS. So let's say we want to align these headings to the left. We could actually go into our TR right here in the T head and say align equals left. Save that, and now you can see it's pushed over to the left. And if we wanted to give it a background color, we could use BG color red. Reload. Okay, you can see it gives it some color. If we want to make these wider, these columns, we could do that. So if we go into our TD right here, I'm sorry, our TH, and say width, we'll say width equals 400. Save that, and you can see that widened it out. We can do that for these as well. We'll say 300 for these two. Reload, and there we go. So there we have a table. Now, years ago, people used to use tables for building websites. For instance, they'd have a sidebar in one column, the main area in the middle, and then another sidebar over here. And that's really bad practice. You don't want to do that anymore. You only want to use tables for actual tabular data that should be displayed in tables, not parts of your website. All right, so if you have an application with transactions or something like that, that's a good case for a table. All right, so pretty simple stuff. In the next video, we're going to get into forms and input. So I will see you then.